Welcome. Today we're doing a deep dive into chapter 25 of the book of Ezekiel.
hmm
The focus here really shifts, doesn't it? It moves outward, looking at the judgments against the nations surrounding Israel and Judah.
That's right. After dealing so much with Israel and Judah's own issues, Ezekiel turns the spotlight onto their neighbors.
So our mission really is to unpack why.
Yeah.
Why these specific prophecies,
Yeah.
and what do the consequences tell us?
Exactly. It's about understanding the reasons behind these judgments and what they reveal about, well, divine accountability in this context.
Okay, let's start with the Ammonites. The text gets pretty specific about their offense.
It really does. It wasn't just, existing near Israel. It was their reaction.
Their reaction to Jerusalem's fall.
Yeah.
They apparently rejoiced, said, aha,
Mm.
when the sanctuary was desecrated, when the land was ruined, and when Judah went into exile.
Yeah, and it wasn't just words. The text mentions them clapping their hands, stamping their feet, real, physical expressions of malice.
Wow. So a very active, hostile joy at their neighbor's suffering.
Precisely. And that attitude, that malicious glee, seems to be the core issue. It's seen as a direct affront.
And the consequence described is pretty severe.
Oh, absolutely.
Uh.
Handed over to the people of the East. Their capital, Rabbah, becomes a pasture for camels. Ammon itself, a place for sheep to lie down. Basically, total desolation.
Cut off. Exterminated. The text is blunt.
It is. And then there's that recurring phrase, through this judgment, they will know that I am the Lord. That acknowledgement seems key.
Okay, moving on. Next up are Moab and Seir. Their issue sounds a bit different.
It is perhaps slightly more subtle, but still significant. They're called out for saying Judah had become like all the other nations.
So not necessarily gloating like the Ammonites, but more dismissal.
Yeah, dismissal seems like a good word. Like they were saying Judah's special covenant relationship, their unique identity, was meaningless now. Just another defeated people.
Undermining their whole connection to God, essentially,
Exactly. Denying that uniqueness is presented as a serious offense.
and the consequences.
Similar in outcome, though framed differently. Their flank, their border towns will be opened up, exposed. They're also given over to the people of the East, alongside Ammon. Punishment is inflicted. And again, the purpose stated is so they will know that I am the Lord.
Right. Now, things seem to intensify with Edom.
Definitely. The language gets stronger. Edom is accused of taking active revenge on the house of Judah.
Revenge. And it mentions ancient hostility.
Yes, that phrase is crucial. It suggests this isn't just opportunism during Judah's weakness, but part of a long, bitter history of conflict. Think Jacob and Esau.
So deep-seated animosity boiling over into vengeance when Judah was vulnerable.
That's the picture painted, acting out of generations of resentment and incurring great guilt by doing so.
The divine response.
Very direct. God's hand stretched out against them, cutting off people and animals, laying the land waste from Teman all the way to Dedan.
And there's an interesting twist here, isn't there, about how the vengeance happens.
There is. The text says, God will take vengeance by the hand of my people Israel. It connects Israel's future restoration with enacting divine justice on Edom.
So Edom will know God's vengeance through Israel. Powerful stuff.
And finally, we get to the Philistines, along the coast.
Their actions sound quite similar to Edom's. Vengeance, malice.
Yes, very similar motivations highlighted, acting in vengeance with malice, driven by that same ancient hostility, and specifically aiming to destroy Judah.
So again, not just opportunism, but a destructive intent rooted in historical conflict.
Exactly. The goal was destruction.
And the consequence.
A sweeping judgment. God's hand stretched out again, cutting off the Kerethites, likely a group within the Philistines, and destroying those left along the coast.
The text calls it great vengeance and punishment in wrath.
Very strong language. And it concludes, like the others, but maybe even more forcefully, then they will know that I am the Lord when I take vengeance on them.
It really is striking how specific each charge is. It's not just a general condemnation. It's tied to their specific actions, their attitudes, gloating, dismissal, vengeance towards Judah and Israel in their time of need.
Absolutely. These aren't presented as arbitrary judgments. There's a clear cause and effect described.
And that recurring phrase, then they will know that I am the Lord. It's clearly not just tacked on.
No, it seems central to the purpose. The judgment itself forces a confrontation, a recognition of the power and sovereignty of Israel's God. It's knowledge gained through, well, harsh experience.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive into Ezekiel 25 really highlights how, in this text, these surrounding nations face judgment for very specific hostile responses to Judah's suffering.
Right. Their actions and attitudes towards God's people, especially during vulnerability, carried immense weight and led to severe consequences described here.
Makes you think, doesn't it, about the significance placed on how we react to the struggles of others, and perhaps the idea of ultimate accountability.
It definitely does. It raises questions about responsibility and the consequences of malice or even indifference.
And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Given this chapter's focus on judgment leading to recognition, what does it truly mean for a nation, or even for us to come to know that I am the Lord through experiencing divine consequence? Something to reflect on.